we all go through our stuff. We all have our shit. Like, I've been through my own like certain amount of shit in 2023, and it's not until you kind of like take a step back and you hear somebody else's story, and you've gone through so much in just last year alone. And we're going to talk all about that. We're going to talk about what you've recovered from in the coming hour. But this podcast called Getting Back Up, where I talk to inspiring people. And Simon, you really are an inspiring person to me. We've become great friends over the last 12 years now, getting to 12 years. And I'm really keen to do this. One, for me, for my own growth, my own healing process from the shit that I've been through in my life. And I know your story will touch so many people. And I want to say thank you for coming on and opening up your wounds and sharing your life with me and the Getting Back Up listeners and watchers. So for those that don't know you, who are you and why are we talking today?
Well, my name's Simon. I'm a local dentist, which is how I initially got to know you. I grew up in
That's
Birmingham.
why we met. We met at the Olympic Games. We actually
Yes, yeah, yeah, we did.
at the Olympics, which we'll come on to later. But yes, sir. Sorry, as you were, sir.
And I am a recovering alcoholic, and I've been sober for nearly 23 years now. But my descent into the sort of 24-hour hell of chronic alcoholism was quite rapid and quite destructive. And it's a miracle, a series of many miracles, really, that I kind of pulled out, and probably mostly down to the strength of my wife, who stuck by me when many would have cut me adrift, really, and quite deservedly so. And I think for the motivation factor was my family and my kids, who thankfully they're all kind of young adults now. None of them remember me drinking, and my youngest has never seen me drink, because she was conceived and born after I'd attained sobriety. So that she's a little miracle, because there was no way Karen was going to bring another child into the world that I had created around my drinking. So yeah, so mostly my story is about what happened. Again, what made me stop? I'm still not convinced I know the answer to that, and how I have learned to live and enjoy being sober. In a nutshell, and how I got the tools to face life and life's challenges without a drink, or without needing to drink as well. So on a daily basis, I continue to do that, and with the help of many inspiring people at Alcoholics Anonymous, that's what I continue to do.
That's amazing. I got tingles throughout. I say a lot on this. You might hear me say. You probably will hear me say it in this conversation that I've got tingles. I've got tingles. I get goosebumps hearing inspiring stuff, and I had tingles from the back of my spine to my fingertips just in, as you were saying that. Especially when you spoke about Maddie the miracle. Your youngest of your three amazing children. Um, we're gonna deep dive into that. I've seen and heard you talk about your like some of the experiences that you went through and some of the things you went through, and I want to hear about some of that stuff. But last year, 2023, I mentioned a minute ago, we all like it seems like a lot of people went through some stuff in 2023 because that's life, and life continuously throws punches at us for us to bob and weave and slip and duck, and occasionally they land on the chin, and we get knocked down. And you had a big 2023. Can you talk about what you went through and what your only months from going through?
Yeah, well, it was let's see, September. I've been on holidays to Portugal in sort of June, July, and then went to Latitude Festival in end of July. And just after that, I noticed a bit of blood in my poo, just a couple of times. And I did that thing that most men do, and kind of were mulled it over, and then thought, nah, no, that's probably nothing. It's probably chili or tomato juice. And I was still mulling it over when my middle daughter Emily asked me to get some paracetamol from Tesco's. So I went to get some. They'd run out, so I was hunting around in Tesco's, and I noticed that they sold a fecal immunological test, which is the blood in poo test. And I'd done one last year, because they send you one when you get to a certain age, and that had come back negative. So I thought, oh, that's fine. I'll just do one of those and it'll be fine. So took one of those. It's like a COVID test, gives you an instant result, and that came back positive. So I thought, oh, I'll phone the doctor the next day. And I phoned the doctor and I was like number 27 in the queue. And I thought, oh, Christ, can I be bothered? But I just emailed them. I said, I've done this test and it came back positive. And I thought they'll get back to me in about 2, 3 weeks or so. They phoned up that afternoon and said, you've got an appointment this afternoon, come in. So I went in, they gave me another test to do and sent me for bloods. Their test came back positive. The bloods were actually okay, but they phoned me up and said, we've referred you to the lower GI clinic. And I've got lots of friends who are doctors, so I sort of phoned up and said, what outcome do I need? And they said, you need a colonoscopy. So the lower GI clinic phoned me up and they said, we don't actually need to see you, you just need a colonoscopy. So I booked that in and they'd got a cancellation. So that was the following week. And at this point, I hadn't told Karen any of this because her mum was quite ill and she'd had a couple of falls and she'd just broken her knee and then she'd got some gut problems, and she was going through some investigations, and they thought she probably had some sort of cancer. So I didn't want to mention it to Karen, but we were due to go swimming in Fritton Lake um, in the morning, and I was just waiting until the kids had left because Emily had got a week-long job interview, so I didn't really want to worry them about it. And Karen says, "Should we go swimming?" I can't really because I've just taken a load of laxatives and a load of prep. She says, "What's that for?" So I've got a colonoscopy. Now Karen's a glass half empty sort of person, so she immediately assumed that there was something wrong. I actually thought it'd just be an infection or something. Anyway, I went the next day to have the colonoscopy, and I didn't bother any sedation because I wanted to see it. And after introducing himself, didn't buy me a drink, shoved the camera straight up, and he went straight to this ulcer, which if I'd seen it in the mouth, I would have thought that's mouth cancer, that's squamous cell carcinoma or something. So I instantly kind of knew what this was. He then spent 45 minutes, as far as I can work out, trying to find my G spot. And then, and in fact, just in case I'd missed the hint of this massive ulcer and looking like cancer, he asked the consultant to come in, and the consultant said, "Yeah, CT, MRI." So I kind of knew at this point. I had 50 minutes notice on Karen, and he came to see me afterwards and said, "Yeah, we need to have a chat." So I thought you might. Do you want your wife to be present? I thought, well, she'd better be because she'll ask all the questions I'll forget. So I texted her and said, "Oh, yeah, yeah, just come pick me up." So she then texted me, said, "I'm here." I said, "Yeah, they want to have a chat." So at this point, she knows that I've got cancer. I know I've got cancer. And we walk into I think they call it the delivering bad news room. And there were, and we walked in. There's Mr. Veltura and a Macmillan cancer nurse with loads of books sitting there, just in case I've missed any of the massive hints. And when people tell you they've got cancer, they always put their head to the side and go, yeah, give you a little look. Anyway, because we're English, all four of us sitting around knowing that I've got cancer, he said, "So Simon, you're a practicing dentist," and we talked for 5 minutes about dentistry, about the fact that our kids went to school together and blah blah blah. And they said, "Yeah, by the way, you've got cancer. We've done some biopsies. See you in 2 weeks." Came back 2 weeks later, it was confirmed, and then I was booked for surgery in October, and they took a large section of my bowel out. And actually, going back to the point where he said it, and this comes into sort of attitude towards things, I was a little bit detached. But the one thing I asked, Karen asked all the sensible questions. I said, "Look, what can I do to help you with the surgery?" And he said, "If you're cycling 10 miles a day at the moment, cycle 30." So that's what I did for 3 months, for 3 weeks before the surgery. I worked really hard on my fitness, my diet. I dropped sort of 3/4 of a stone. Which they got worried about actually. I'm the only person I know to have cancer without any unexpected weight loss. There's no sort of benefit there. But then I was on it and on the diet and lost some weight. I bought one of those breathing things to improve my lung capacity.
Mm.
And so I was pretty fit by the time I got to have the surgery. And they said, "You'll be in 6 or 7 days." And I said, "What's the quickest someone's got out?" And they said 3 days. And I said, "Okay, I'm going to try for that." Anyway, surgery went well. It was a 7-hour operation. They took a large section of my bowel out. I didn't have to have a bag, which was a bonus, but I'd sort of I'd accepted the fact that I was going to have a bag, and thought, do you know what? If I do, I'm just going to be that in your face with it, and I'm just going to carry on and make the most of what I can, and not treat it as a disability if that's what it takes for me to live. And also, my daughter has Crohn's, and she was told that she might have to have a bag, and she accepted that with a great stoicism. So I thought I can do no less, really. But as it was, they managed to sew me back together. Um, I was in hospital for 3 days, and I was really worried about pain relief because they give you lots of morphine and stuff. And so I said before I didn't really want morphine if I could help it. And obviously, during the operation, they fill you full of opioids and stuff. And I got up the next morning, and I got out of bed and I went for a walk and everything. And I took a picture of myself because I was really proud that I was out of bed, and I thought I looked wonderful. And I posted it to people at work and stuff like that. And I was obviously still off my tits because I looked at the photo about 3, 4 days later, and it was awful. I looked awful. Anyway, the physios turned up with a load of in bed exercises for me to do, and I said, "Well, I've been up and out anyway. I've been to the toilet anyway." And I got out within 3 days, which was great. And I have to say, I mean, the system is clearly a bit broken, the NHS, but the people in there were wonderful, and I. I had the most wonderful care, and everyone's too busy really, but they were brilliant, and they've sort of fixed me up. I was back out on the bike within 2 weeks. Again, Karen went out for a run. I didn't tell her. I sort of hung around till she'd gone out, and then I quickly got changed, got on the bike, and I overtook her. About 10 minutes later, what the fuck are you doing out here? Because I knew she'd have told me off if I'd said I was going to. But I got back out on the bike, and I would say now, pretty much 95% fully recovered. I have to be careful what I eat. On a bad day, I have to go to the toilet quite a lot. They took a piece of my rectum away, which is the bit where you store poo. So I sometimes when I have to go, I have to go. But apart from that, I'm pretty much back to normal. And a couple of my friends, I think you get to 58 and you'll find your friends start getting ill. A couple of my friends, one has a leukemia and one had a load of blood clots. And I feel blessed actually, because my experience compared to what some of them have been going through is pretty minor. I had 3 months off work, which was wonderful because I haven't had any time off work for like 25 years, and actually really enjoyed it. Went to the beach walking the dog, spent loads of time with Karen, and it's been really good. So I think it's done me a lot of good having a break and having time to reassess what's important in life, not get so stressed about work. And so far that's working. I went back a couple of days ago, but said I'm just doing 3 days a week, which is marvelous. But yeah, I feel blessed really.